Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, from Dota Radio. We're here with Starladder, Season 7, Day 28 of that initial days of round 30 initial days of round robin. This is the last of 3 remaining days. Following tomorrow and the next day, there will be 2 more. I walked myself into a weird circle there with my words. We have but one match coming up today, Empire versus Rattlesnake.International, aka Team Kaipi, and it's going to be a good one. If there's one match to be had, this is certainly one to keep an eye out for. I'm Zyori. Joining me for our one and only match will be Hippie. Hippie, my friend, I know you're excited about this matchup.
Oh, I absolutely am. We always see some intriguing drafts from Eternal Envy. He's willing to play around with heroes that other teams are kind of a little cautious with, so it's always exciting to see what he's going to last pick. Empire has been playing out of their minds for this entire Starladder season. They're still at the top of the standings. Fantastic team. They're pretty much guaranteed top 4. I think there may be... No, they're guaranteed top 4. They're not guaranteed, obviously. They're seeding, so they're going to have to worry about that still. They still want to win as much as possible. Rattlesnake needs to win at least 2 more games, one of which has to be against Quantic. So, and they might still run up in a tiebreaker if other teams that they're running up against in the standings end up doing really well as well. So this is a big match for them. They really need to make something happen, so expect everything EE can pull out of his hat coming out right here.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Right now, Kaipi has played the least amount of matches, so they are 5th in the standings, but they've played only 11 of their 15, so as you mentioned, they are going to need to pick up at least 2 more wins. This is Empire's last match. This is their 14th match. Currently, they are 11-3, hence partially why they're number 1. Right now, Na'Vi are 11-4 in second place, so I'm pretty sure Empire can still make it in the top 4, as you said, even if they lose this match. Again, seeding does come into effect, which can have a big impact on how the rest of the tournament can unfold. So, alas, we are here, and the banning phase has been completed. We are going to see Wisp and Batrider taken out of the pool by Team Empire, and Clockwork, as well as the Naga, going to be banned out by Rattlesnake.International. So, obviously, Darkseer, Outworld Devourer, Visage, Lifestealer, Furion, all great heroes that have now made it through into the pool. And with that, Rattlesnake going to opt for a first pick Darkseer. Can never go wrong with the little Ishkoffel.
Oh, no, absolutely not. He's got amazing setup. He's very versatile. He's good against pretty much every lineup because he has a lot of early and mid-game power with the Ion Shell damage, the Vacuum setup, and then, of course, against a really late-game carry team, Wall of Replica, man. And if you're really, really hardcore, you just build Dagon 5 and kill everyone.
Yeah, as we saw yesterday, a strategy that indeed can work out. But Empire going to start off with a bang as well. They will go ahead and grab the Chen to go with their Bane. Not too surprised to see the Chen. Empire, a team that's been running him more and more. So far, we've seen Na'Vi and Alliance, really the 2 big Chen teams. The only 2 teams really first picking Chen. And now Empire is starting to do it more and more. Vanscore has been playing a good Chen. We saw those little fun words from Vilat in all chat a few matches ago about Vanscore's epic Chen, and he kind of lived up to the little bit of hype there that Vilat gave him, because we've seen some big Chen plays come out of Team Empire, no doubt. Bane, definitely a great pick as well. Grab that second support, not revealing too much of the strategy, and with Lifestealer still on the field, may deter Rattlesnake from grabbing him here with their second pick as they break into their reserve time.
Also deters the Weaver pick a little bit, which is something you can always do. They're just going to pick up the Gyrocopter, it looks like, over on Rattlesnake. And comboing that up with Darkseer is never a bad thing. Obviously, that vacuum into call down setup, especially if you can get just like a little AoE stun to hold them a little longer, so you get maybe 3 heroes caught in that call down, that can pretty much decide a team fight right there if it's really well placed. You get it on important heroes. That's slow, preventing people from getting any sort of good positioning when the vacuum has already screwed up their positioning in the first place. All the AoE damage is huge in the mid game. It falls off in the late game, but then you've got Flak Cannon to help compensate for that. So really just all around a fantastic set of picks. Darkseer is absolutely one of my favorite heroes in the game. I think he's exceptionally good, and very occasionally when he doesn't get picked up in that first phase, if he's not banned, I just am very confused. I think he's always worth taking.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we've seen teams sort of start off with a draft similar to that Darkseer Gyrocopter and just get a little bit out of control with all of that AoE potential. Still some very powerful heroes on the board. A shame that the Naga was banned out, but of course she is definitely interesting that Rattlesnake actually banned her out last as they had first pick. So they could have taken the Naga if they wanted here. But alas, they opted for the Darkseer first. They could have maybe gotten that set up, but already off to a good AoE start. Right now, the third ban coming out for Rattlesnake will be the Bounty Hunter, and Team Empire going to go ahead and ban out the Visage. So more offlaners getting banned out here, and there it is. The fourth ban going to be the Nature's Prophet. Just about to say, if they're banning offlaners, Nature's Prophet going to be a scary option still in the pool. Clockwork going to be that kind of last available option for Team Empire, and I think they may be well advised to try and snag them up here. Oh, first ban. Oh, God, I missed it. Wow, I feel like a dope. Sorry, folks. So, wow, who's left in the off lane? Elder Titan, I guess, is something that Team Empire could go for.
Lone Druid.
Lone Druid, that's another good one as well. But, yeah, those off-lane choices getting a little bit more limited. Team Empire, do they have a really good LD player? Not that you have to be particularly skilled to get those entangling roots, but I don't think they have an Admiral Bulldog level connoisseur of the Syllabaire on their squad.
No, I don't think so. Don't always. He's fallen off a little bit, but don't leave out the potential of a Beastmaster, especially when you're going with a Chen. The Beastmaster aura, once he gets a few levels in that, can mean you'll knock down towers really, really quickly, because unlike some other auras, Luna aura specifically is a real culprit for this. You'll use that for pushing, but it won't affect your creeps. But Beastmaster Chen becomes really, really powerful because all of his creeps get that attack speed aura, especially if you stack it up with a Centaur aura. That's even, even more attack speed right there.
I would love to see a Rexar picked up. I got killed the other day in a pub game by a Rexar Keeper of the Light Lane. I just kept giving him mana, just kept throwing axes at my face, and then he killed me like 6 times, and I lost. And ever since then, I've been thinking to myself, what happened to the poor Beastmaster? I know he's not a very popular pick, but there have to be some games when that roar comes in handy. It's sort of like an Abyssal Blade on a longer cooldown. Who knows? Maybe Empire will throw that curveball. We'll see. They are going to break into their reserve time with their third pick here. They did final ban out the Troll Warlord, so we'll see what they want to do. Still a lot of options on the field, but they may want to grab that long laner.
One of the big things I think that's kind of contributing to Beastmaster being a little less popular is that teams are focusing a little more on either team fighting or split pushing. There's a lot less kind of pick and push mentality. About a year ago, you saw a lot of like pick and push style play where you wanted like a good gank lineup with some good push power in it, so you could get one hero and then just pressure the 5v4 advantage to take a couple towers. That's kind of fallen off a little bit. It still happens sometimes, but it's certainly not the dominant strategy anymore. Now people are worried about, okay, let's take a big team fight, or let's just be able to dodge team fights and split push them to death. Since those are the two dominant strategies, Rexar doesn't fit quite as well into those because he's so gank oriented.
That's definitely a good point. He can do some fancy work with the Ancients, though, for sure. But whoa,
Definitely.
Windrunner! Oh, right, I played a game of Windrunner earlier today. I love Windrunner. Oh, this is so awesome. We don't see her so often. Rattlesnake going to pick up the Elder Titan. We see that AoE continuing to unfold. The Split Earth with the call down, with the vacuum and the wall and the flat cannon. Oh, golly, it's going to be crazy for Rattlesnake. But I love seeing an offlane Windrunner, and she's been off our radar because teams have been picking her up so infrequently recently.
Yeah, I mean, she's a little more mobile. She's got a little bit more of that gank potential. She's nice and survivable. She can also theoretically be played as part of an aggressive tri-lane. I mean, I don't think you're going to see that here, obviously, because there's a Chen. But she gets away with that sometimes. A couple teams still pick that up. I can't quite remember. Oh, God. There's a particular team that favors it, but I just can't recall them right now. I apologize.
No worries indeed. Team Empire, though, they will fourth pick their Dragon Knight. Probably going to be a Dragon Knight mid, as we've talked about a few times. Dragon Knight really not a great tri-lane hero. He needs that solo experience, needs to level up that Breathe Fire, get that Elder Dragon form kind of ASAP. So probably going to be a solid mid pick. And Rattlesnake going to go ahead and grab their Rubik here. A nice well-rounded support. Should work pretty nicely against a Bane. Anytime there's a Chen as well on the field, stealing Elder Dragon form might not be too bad. Shackle, lots of very powerful abilities, so I like the Rubik choice here as well as we move into the final ban. So Team Empire going to be looking to pick up their carry for that tri-lane. The Lifestealer still in the pool, very well maybe banned out by Rattlesnake here. I think they may be well advised to do that. Empire, though, they're afraid of the AoE action, and they are going to ban out Enigma with their final ban, and I think it's justified here.
Yeah, definitely. There's way more than enough combo right here. So I'm wondering if we're going to see the Darkseer or the Elder Titan mid. The Elder Titan would match up reasonably well against the Dragon Knight, I feel. He'd actually be able to get some decent farm and experience. And so I think the Darkseer, since the Titan's not going to get zoned out of lane and the Darkseer can get his farm just fine or retreat to the jungle, I'd like to see the ET mid, which is something we don't see as much. So you don't really see what he can maybe do with a little bit of farm. Quite honestly, I don't really know what he's going to do with a little bit of farm. There's some, he can basically pick up some supporty sort of items, maybe some aura items, just give himself, a little bit more mana, a little bit more tank to work with. But there's no big, like, oh man, when you get this, Elder Titan really goes off item. Not that I can think of. I could be crazy, though. Someone in chat might correct me and tell me I'm a moron.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Sing Sing on Elder Titan would be a fan favorite. I see a lot of folks in chat have their fingers crossed, and there is Lifestealer going to be that final pick for Team Empire. I can't say I'm too surprised to see him make it this far into the pool and not get picked up. He is so great for a number of reasons. We've talked about Lifestealer having that versatility to be a late-game hard carry, but also have some mid-game options. But whoa, Nelly, final pick from Rattlesnake, gonna be the Jakiro. So obviously Kaipi here, aka Rattlesnake.International, gonna be working towards that huge AoE wombo combo team, for a phrase that's terribly overused. Jakiro, Rubik, Elder Titan, Gyrocopter, and the Darkseer. What's interesting though is how are they going to lane this? I guess it'll be actually it's not that interesting. It's going to be a tri-lane with the Gyrocopter. The question is who's going to be mid. We talked about Elder Titan versus Darkseer, and we'll see who's playing what. Let's look at our Radiant side. Bone 7 going to be on the Darkseer, so is that going to be Sing Sing on the ED? Indeed it is. So I guess we are going to fish our wish here and get an Elder Titan mid.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see this matchup play out. I think it'll be a little passive, just because the Dragon Knight won't really be able to die, and the Elder Titan will have plenty of harass, so that Dragon Knight won't want to actually go on him, but at the same time, you know, it's not like the Elder Titan has any particularly good way to burst down someone like a Dragon Knight, so it's going to be reasonably passive, but I want to see if Sing surprises me, if he plays in kind of a different way, plays aggressive. Maybe he wants to roam a little bit with this Titan early, and ooh, might be an engagement here.
Uh-oh, yep, Cheng gonna poke his head forward. All 5 members of Rattlesnake right now in the dire jungle, as they all do push forward, gonna throw a ward down, and I think, will that ward block this spawn here? I think it will, indeed. The hard camp, or is it not close enough?
It should, I believe. I think it's just close enough.
I think so.
That's something I would actually love to have for a spectator overlay, is just being able to toggle on block radius for creep camps. That would be amazing.
But still great ward positioning here. We see it right outside of that hard camp. It is on the high ground, so it does give some vision of the main entryway into the jungle here. And people say chat. Some people say it will chat or block. Some people saying it won't
actually,
block.
You know what? I think actually the observer will not block because they dropped a sentry to block
Yeah, I
behind
see
it.
that sentry there.
So they're using the observer to check when Chen is going in and out of the jungle, where the movements are kind of around that area. Right. Maybe to try to pick a courier snipe at some point or another, but they don't really have someone who's particularly great at courier sniping.
Yeah, no Fury.
It's not like they have a Nature's Prophet or something.
Yeah, and all right, some more ward action coming down here. We will see Rattlesnake on our Radiant side block the Dire Ancient's going to put an observer ward right smack in the middle of it, so going to give a little bit of vision. Again, we can take a glance here, and going to give a nice bit of vision into that entryway, as well as prevent stacking and pulling from going on right there. Already going to see these supports go toe-to-toe. They're going to engage on Windrunner down here in the bottom lane. Jakiro going to come in first. Aoi 2000 on that Rubik, doing some nice follow-up damage as well. Of course, they're just opening up some opportunity here for their Gyrocopter to farm. We're going to introduce our rosters here in just a moment. Ward coverage in the bottom lane here. Our Dire side put 1 down, and that spot across the river, giving some vision of that bottom rune spawn, as well as right into the jungle here, so they'll know if the Jakiro as well as the Rubik are going to be nice and aggressive. A very well-placed ward, and there's going to be one here right outside of the pool, and that's going to help give some vision about who's roaming about the jungle as well. So let's go ahead and talk about our rosters here a little bit. We see a lot of action heating up in the bottom lane already here. It is going to be Team Rattlesnake, aka Kaipi, on our Radiant side. Eternal Envy going to be playing on the Gyrocopter down here in the bottom lane. He's going to be supported by Pylai Dai on the Jakiro, also by Aoi 2000.
Big plays right now. Vanscore.
The Rubik. Vanscore, is he coming around back?
He sniped the courier.
Oh, did he?
He sniped the courier with the initial bottle for Sing Sing.
Oh, Vanscore. He's making it happen, Captain. That is so bad. So, all right, let's finish introducing these rosters here. Sing Sing going to be on the Elder Titan in the mid lane. Now going to be struggling a bit. And the off lane is going to be Bone 7 playing that Darkseer. He's moved into the Radiant jungle. On the Dire side, we've got Always Want to Fly in the bottom lane playing on the Bane. Mag going to be playing on the Windrunner. So, going to be a duo lane down here in the bottom against the tri-lane of Rattlesnake. In the mid, Scandal going to be playing on the Dragon Knight up against the solo Sing Sing on the Elder Titan once again. That means we've got a free-farming Lifestealer in the top lane being played by Silent and, of course, Vanscore on that channel. Let's talk about that play a little bit here. He's going to rotate to the top rune spawn and camp out this double damage that has spawned, but blocking that courier. Now Sing Sing not going to be able to be as aggressive with that mana as I'm sure he'd like.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the main ways Elder Titan has to harass people at mid, obviously, is just throwing the Astral Spirit on them, and that also helps him a lot with his last hitting, as he gets the damage boost for every unit it hits. And so now that Scandal has a bottle with the, so he can just bottle Crow and pick up runes with, and just spam Breathe Fire for both last hits and harass. He's already bottled up a DD rune, so he's got that full bottle tech, as well as, you know, just a great thing in general if he decides to Dragon Tail and go in on Sing Sing. This is going to be a huge advantage for him in the mid lane. There's still going to be another minute and a half before Sing Sing's bottle will be here. And look at how much damage he's taking. He has to tank these creeps behind tower. He's eating that breathe fire every time it comes out. That's his last tango he's just used up. He has no regen until that bottle comes out.
Well, he is going to be in a little trouble here in the upcoming moments, but it is important to note he is actually leading the way in last hits right now. That Astral Spirit does give him a nice creep killing advantage. He is 18-4 versus the 3-1. Oh God. Dragon Knight there, and sorry I did miss that one. I was tunnel visioning on the mid lane. We are going to see this action continue to heat up here down at the bottom rune spawn, perhaps, as we see that Darkseer trying to get nice and aggressive. But uh-oh, in the mid lane, now Scandal going to make it happen with that double damage rune. There's the Breathe Fire. Down goes Sing Sing. So I was going to say, although the creep score is a difference there, he might still be in good shape, but it seems that bottle is just going to be way too much of a difference. Dragon Knight able to put out so much more damage, especially with that double damage rune, and now poor Sing Sing is going to fall. But alas, the First Blood did go in favor of Rattlesnake because they were able to pick off that Chen, and again, I did miss exactly how that happened.
Oh, since he's doing an aggressive jungle, he got caught by the Darkseer and took a lot of Ion Shell damage, and Sing actually finished him off with the Astral Spirit for the First Blood at long range.
Oh,
so it was actually really, really helpful for him because he really needed that in the mid lane. Pylai Dai might be the next one in trouble down the bottom lane.
Now he's going to get caught. Vanscore just going to come straight down to the bottom lane. Doesn't even have a creep right now, just doing everything that Chen can bring to the table. Always want to fly, as well as Mag going to be down here as well. They're going to put Aoi 2000 to sleep on that Rubik, compliments in the Nightmare. They're going to path block him in. Aoi knows he's not going to be able to make it out, and he's just going to stand his ground. Not going to work out for him, though. That's now going to make it 3-1 here as we pass the 4-minute mark, and Empire off to a great start here, especially in this bottom lane. I was a little skeptical about this kind of duo lane with Chen moving back and forth, but it seems with Vanscore in the jungle now here, they're able to pick off both those supports, and that will limit the farming potential of the Gyrocopter. He is now 24-10 versus the 33-17 Lifestealer, who now actually has an opponent up in his lane. Darkseer going to make his way up here. He's level 5, Lifestealer now level 6, so Bone 7 going to try and harass him back as best he can with that Ion Shell. And Silent actually getting a little bit low here. Going to pop into a creep with the Infest. Does he have an open wounds? No, it doesn't matter anyway because Surge going to make him run at max speed. So Darkseer going to survive, but he is going to try and slow down that farm of the Lifestealer a little bit. Still, he's got a nice edge over that Gyrocopter, who's now being boxed out of the lane a little bit. This aggression coming out from Empire working very well and giving their carry a nice early game farm advantage here over the Gyrocopter.
Yeah, I said, Windrunner could be an aggressive trial, and that probably won't happen because it's Chen, but Empire just proving me wrong here. And also, I mean, the difference it's making is absolutely huge because Silent had like a 4.5-minute Midas as compared to this Gyrocopter who's had, I mean, he could theoretically still get one if he wanted to. I think he's going to pick up Phase or Treads right here, but, yeah, there we go. Phase Boots right there, picked up. But yeah, he was just, not only did they not have a courier, so he couldn't fly anything out to him if he needed to, but they couldn't push the lane up hard enough against the Windrunner for him to get to side shop. So he had a lot of delay in picking up those phase boots, which give you such amazing laning power on the Gyrocopter. That extra 24 damage with early levels of flat cannon is hugely strong. People really underestimate it.
But uh-oh, Pylai Dai going to be in trouble here. The Centaur going to come in, will connect with a stun. Mag going to be able to land a shackle. Unfortunately for Empire, though, Jakiro will survive. Homing missile going to be used. It is on Always Want to Fly. They're going to be able to take it out, but Chen is going to go down. Rubik going to be able to grab that last hit. Now Mag on the Windrunner going to be in a little bit of trouble. Is going to try to Windrun away. That telekinesis going to pick her up. She is almost going to make it back to the tower, but not going to be enough. Oh no, Vanscore going to miss that Chen stun, and not sure he would have been able to pick up a kill by any means right there with Bane, the only one left alive, but still, well, not going to connect with that stun. So that will level it out now, 3-3 here as we pass that 6-minute mark. Very aggressive down here in the bottom lane. And one of the problems for Empire is who's farming. If we look at these last hits, Windrunner is 12-4, Always Want to Fly is 3-1, Chen is 10-0. So Windrunner is the primary farmer down here. That is going to be Mag, but there should be some favor of Rattlesnake, I would have thought. No, actually Empire are going to be pulling ahead here by still about 1,000 gold and about 150 experience. I worry about Gyrocopter farming well and this Windrunner not picking up too much, but I guess it's all worth it given that they've got this free farming Lifestealer in the top lane, who's, oh, by the way, leading the way in last hits, 52-20 with that Hand of Midas, so I guess that's where that gold difference is coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. He's already gotten 2 uses off on his Midas. That's, a pretty big boost. By the 7-minute mark, 7 minutes is like, oh, okay. You want to have the Midas by 7 minutes. A little later than that, and you're starting to get a little bit iffy. He had it, a full 2.5 minutes beforehand. He's gotten 2 uses out of it by the 7-minute mark. That's a big freaking deal, especially because they don't really have a lineup that's going to be contesting him particularly heavily. Right. As long as there's good warding coming out from Empire and there's not like a whole lot of smoke ganks, and they'd have to commit like 3 or 4 heroes to these smoke ganks anyway if they want to get pressure on this Lifestealer. Silent's just going to be free farming. He's going to have a very early armlet, very early drum, whatever he chooses to go for, and be a really big threat regardless of whether they choose to do like a mid-game sort of engagement, which I wouldn't really expect them to against this level of team fight coming out from Rattlesnake, or if he wants to farm for a later game hard carry style.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be good news for Empire because Rattlesnake are going to be the ones that kind of need to be the aggressors, I think, because, of course, Lifestealer, he's going to be a little bit more of a hard carry than the Gyrocopter, but also just because he's so far ahead in farm right now. Right now, the Lifestealer is leading the way on net worth, about 4.3k, and the Gyrocopter is sitting at about 2.8k. So Rattlesnake, of course, they're going to be working towards their team fight potential, and I think they're going to be the aggressors coming up here, and because this Lifestealer is such a great start, and he's such a versatile pick, he'll be able to carry in the late game, but also have a presence in these team fights with that early armlet, Drum of Endurance, as you mentioned, whatever he opts to go for here. And that's going to give Empire just a huge advantage in trying to defend these team fights, where if they'd taken another hard carry like a PL, an anti-mage, or something like that, I think they'd be much more hard-pressed to try and fend off all of this mid-game pressure. But all right, Windrunner in the bottom lane, going to get engaged on hard. They're going to drop the call down. The telekinesis is going to come. Mag trying to make it back and to stand his ground. I guess he figures he's dead anyway. Might as well try and pick up a kill on his own. Scandal going to come down. That'll be the end of the Rubik. Also going to be able to finish off the Jakiro. So that power shot can help set it up, but Scandal going to be able to grab a double kill on that Dragonite as he does rotate towards the bottom lane. A nice 2-for-1 exchange in favor of Empire. Now going to give them the lead once again here in hero count 5-4 as we approach that 9-minute mark.
And Scandal, I'm curious to see what he's going to be picking up. He's got 1,800 gold sitting. I'm wondering if he wants to go the very aggressive sort of Shadowblade build, or if he wants to go into something else with all of this gold he's getting. But, you know, 9 minutes in, he's sitting on a network of 4,500. He's only 500 behind the free farming Midas Lifestealer. That is excellent for him. He's 3-0. He's got a great creep score at 63 and 12. That's fantastic for 9 minutes, 20 seconds. It's just, and he's going to start putting a lot of pressure on this tower with the Elder Dragon form. I'm really seeing this Dragon Knight going places.
And I think he probably will go for that Shadow Blade build, just based on how aggressive Empire have been so far. I think that'll give them a little bit of utility here, and they're going to need someone for that Lifestealer to hop inside of, and I think the Shadow Blade on top of the Elder Dragon pairs nicely with giving that Nake some sort of a little bit of a taxi cab to utilize that Infest a bit, because they don't really have one of those classic huge mobile heroes we talk about a lot, the Furion, the Spirit Breaker, the Puck, someone that he can easily hop inside of that wants to be up in their face. So I think Dragonite going to sort of serve as that entryway for Silent to engage in these upcoming team fights, but we're going to see kind of a two-pronged push here. That bottom tower did take a good bit of damage thanks to the Elder Dragon form, but we could see a little engage here. We see the Darkseer in kind of an odd spot. He did grab that top illusion rune, but now he's going to bump into the Windrunner as well as the Bane. He's going to be able to rotate his way to the mid lane. Elder Titan going to be there, and he'll be fine. So going to make it out of that sticky situation, but up in the top lane, Empire pushing this tier 1 tower very aggressively. Chen moving out of the jungle. We see Silent as well as Always Want to Fly cutting the lane, going to clear the creeps, and unless they come in trying to defend this tower, it is going to fall. The glyph has already been used. It's down to about 300 hit points, and they're just going to keep chopping away. We do see Aoi 2000 on the level 4 Rubik hiding in the trees off to the side. We see Bone 7 on the Darkseer down near where that tier 2 is in the top lane, ready to run in, but not going to be able to find the opportunity they're looking for to defend, and that's going to be the end of the first tower. Going to give the tower lead now to Empire, and Silent going to be able to grab the last hit himself, going to further his farm with that net worth chart even more, now up to about 6.3k here at the 11-minute mark. Lifestealer is already a force to be reckoned with, but it's just going to get worse for Rattlesnake here. Empire now leading by about 3,000 gold, 750 experience. I have to say, man, they're off to a hell of a start in this match. Windrunner now in the mid lane, going to be able to hold it and get a little bit of farm as well. She's now level 7. Dragon Knight as well as Lifestealer, both the highest levels in the match at level 10. That is a scary precedent indeed.
Absolutely, and Scandal looks like he wants to be going for a BKB build. Just picked up the Mithril Hammer, which, you know, I absolutely respect against this lineup of Rattlesnake. There's so much control, so much good teamfight power coming up. Being able to nullify that, especially because they don't have anything except for the call down that will crowd control him through BKB, and even that's just a slow. That's going to be a really big deal to have that Dragon Knight just running around in fights, unable to really slow him down or anything. And one thing I wanted to point out is because Scandal got this advantage in the mid lane, you were talking about, oh, they're pushing the top tower, they, you know, Rattlesnake needs to either rotate or lose someone. Well, because Scandal is kind of ahead, and because he had that Elder Dragon form running in the bottom lane and was just putting pressure on bottom lane, you have to commit 2 heroes just to stop him from pushing. If you just commit 1 hero, he's going to slow siege it down with Dragon Form and Breathe Fire. Right. So they had both the, I believe it was the Jakiro and the Gyrocopter down there committed to just slowing him down. And so that's, you know, 3 heroes they can't be committing to trying to deal with that top push, which obviously was very successful for Empire. So basically, Empire can just, because of the Dragon, ooh, Rubik might be in trouble here in the mid.
Yeah, just look how aggressive this is. The Dragonite in a 1v4, and they're kind of scared of the Dragonite. Now, he is going to be an Elder Dragon form, going to get caught in an Ice Path, but oh no, Pylai die on that Jakiro, going to be in big trouble. Silent going to hop forward. He's going to fall. Looks like he's going to overcommit. I think he underestimates the power of the Elder Titan when he can next with an Astral Spirit like that. Sing Sing now going to be able to grab a double kill as he throws that Astral Spirit forward once again. That's going to be the end of the Lifestealer and the Dragon Knight. Always Want to Fly could be in a little bit of trouble here, but I don't know if you saw that, but Sing Sing hitting for about 250 right there. That ended the days there for the Lifestealer, who only has an armlet to go with those phase boots and the Hand of Midas. Engage not over quite yet, though. We're going to see the Windrunner in a little bit of trouble. A homing missile has been put on, and actually they did manage to finish off that Elder Titan. Homing missile going to get taken out. So Elder Titan is going to fall. Still going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of Rattlesnake. Did they lose their Jakiro too there? Was it a 2-for-2?
Yeah, it was a 2-for-2.
It was a 2-for-2, pardon me. He died right away.
But still, I mean, you dropped a support and your mid for the 2 cores of Empire. You still have the Gyrocopter, he got out just fine, and Sing got a lot of the experience from that fight, which is really, for him, a lot more significant than the gold. So I mean, sure, he overcommitted a little at the end. He probably should have just backed off after he picked up that second kill. But at the same time, you killed the Dragon Knight, you killed the Lifestealer. Both of them were overcommitting a little bit in that engagement. They felt stronger than they were, and they just underestimated the damage that the Elder Titan was putting out. So yeah, well played by Sing Sing. We were talking about we want to see the Sing Sing Titan. There it is. He did a good job in that fight. Really turned it around for Rattlesnake.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned, killing those 2 most valuable heroes of Empire does make that a little bit more of a victory for Rattlesnake, despite it being technically a break even on the kill chart there. Lifestealer still leading the way on the net worth chart. He is at about 7K, sitting around 6.9, and he's a hop and a skip ahead of everyone else. Gyrocopter and now the Darkseer are going to be nipping at his heels, both around 5.6, 5.5K or so. So still about 1.5 or 1,500. 1,500 gold behind the Lifestealer, who's still farming away. We should check some items here. I do want to mention that the Darkseer did go for that early Hand of Midas, yet to make another big item pickup, but it looks like he's just got just about enough gold for the mech. He does have his bottle now, Stout Shield, as well as a Soul Ring to go with that Hand of Midas, so we've seen this build plenty of times. Down in the bottom lane, Pylai Dai going to get dove on. That's going to be the Windrunner, Lifestealer, and Bane trio up against the solo Jakiro here in the bottom lane. They dive that tier 1 tower, and Jakiro not going to be able to survive it. So again, looking at item choices here, Gyrocopter, Eternal Envy, of course, going to have that early Helm of the Dominator to go with the Ring of Aquila, Bracer, Phase Boots, and the Magic Wand. Of course, going to be stacking the Ancients here as best he can. I'm not sure if he's actually used a creep to do it yet, but I'm sure he will be. And, well, now just going to do it himself. But going to be stacking those Ancients to later clear him out with the Flat Cannon. No big surprise about that. And, yeah, Darkseer now going to be able to grab that mech. So that is going to be good news for Rattlesnake in these upcoming team fights. Dragon Knight now level 11, so, of course, does have the level 2 Elder Dragon form and is going to be close to that BKB. He's got the 2 core items, the Ogre Club and the Mithril Hammer, and going to be pulling up that gold with about 1,000 in the bank. Of course, going to be very close to that recipe. We will see a smoke from Empire, though. Always Want to Fly, Silent, and Mag going to be in the jungle here. They're all smoked up. They're on the high ground right above the easy camp, and it looks like they're ready to rotate towards the mid lane. They need to be careful here, though. All 5 members of Rattlesnake are here about that tier 1 tower, and I don't think they're going to find the opportunity to engage that they're looking for here. Scandal is in the mid lane on that Dragon Knight, and needs to be a little careful as well. I think they're going to try and engage on him. We see Bone 7 with his invisibility rune on right now. Plenty of time left on it, about 30 seconds or so. So he's just looking for an opportunity to catch Scandal off guard with that vacuum, pull him forward into an Ice Path perhaps, and let all that follow-up damage come. There it is. Ice Path going to come out. The vacuum and the damage coming out from Jakiro. Here's the call down. Going to connect with quite a few members of Empire. Scandal going to be in big trouble here. The heal from Chen going to be used, and that's going to be a safe Gyrocopter as he gets sent back to the base. Compliments of the Test of Faith. Nicely done by Chen. That will keep their Gyrocopter alive, but now Rattlesnake going to be able to press forward. They will grab that tier 1 tower in the top lane. So really well played by both sides. Rattlesnake going to be able to grab that tower, and Empire do keep their carry alive despite the odds.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Rattlesnake that Bone 7 didn't wait just slightly longer before going into that. They knew that they wanted Scandal. They thought they had him alone. They didn't realize the rest of the team was there smoked up, and Empire was just starting to push up to try and engage onto the Jakiro, who appeared to be alone when Bone 7 broke that invis. He could have probably gotten a couple more heroes in that vacuum, but as it is, you know, a bunch of abilities are burned on both sides. Hand of God is burned, Earth Splitter is burned, Call Down will be up again soon, but in the end, even though there's no hero deaths, Rattlesnake takes the towers. They definitely come out ahead, and their cooldowns are lower, so they can do it again quicker.
That's a good point to make it as well. And looking at the gold graph now, Empire still leading by about 3,000 gold. Experience advantage is negligible, though. Rattlesnake actually with a small advantage, so there's a big dichotomy there. Empire farming a little bit better in terms of gold. They do have the tower advantage, 2-1. They've knocked down both the tier 1 in the top lane, as well as that tier 1 in the bottom lane, and that tier 1 in the mid we just saw Rattlesnake take was their first tower kill of the match. So I'm sure some more core items got picked up following that. Elder Titan now going to be able to grab his Drum of Endurance following that early Urn of Shadow. Shadows as well as the Powered Treads. We do see Dragon Knight now has his BKB complete, so that's going to be good news. Windrunner going to be working towards that Force Staff, does have the Ring of Regen as well as the Staff of Wizardry already. Chen now going to be able to grab his mech as well. And again, Silent on that Lifestealer. Has he picked something else up? There's got to be something else that he has now. The Armlet, the Midas, as well as the Phase Boots there. Is there something on the Courier perhaps? Oh yeah, that's going to be a Yasha that he has coming in. So, well, Silent continuing to be the leading farmer in this match and going to be making those economic investments. And it looks like both sides just going to kind of back up a little bit here. It is 8-6 as we approach the 18-minute mark. Of course, Empire still leading the way by 2 kills, and both sides look like they're just going to head back, stack the Ancients a little bit, and, well, actually, yeah, okay, he does stack it. Always want to fly. Going to get a couple of golems there, and they're just going to go back to farming it, those next rounds of core items before they press up and try and take a team fight.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about core items, I really think Empire could hugely benefit from a pipe on this team. I'm really hoping that Vanscore looks to farm one very, very quickly, or at least as quickly as possible, since he's kind of rotated out of the jungle and, of course, doing a lot more pushing than anything else. But does Rubik have Holy Persuasion? I think he did. Oh no, that must have been the Helmet Dominator.
Oh, the vacuum gonna come in. Yeah, that's a little bit of combo right there. The Ice Path to the vacuum. Windrunner gonna fall. The Macro Pyre actually not really gonna connect right there, unfortunately. So sort of a half combo, but still gonna be able to grab themselves an easy kill on that Windrunner. And Empire gonna be forced to head for the hills there as they do retreat to that tier 2 in the mid lane. So Rattlesnake showing us what they're about here with this crazy AoE team. And I have to say, my friend, I absolutely agree with you. I think a pipe will kind of change the state of this game a little bit in terms of Empire. So hopefully that'll be Chen's next item. If they don't go for a fast pipe, I would definitely label that a mistake here. Rubik going to walk into the Roche Pit, going to be able to use that secret shot from the high ground. Nice little play right there. As Rattlesnake all just going to rotate down bottom. I think their timing is here. They're ready to stay aggressive. Silent going to be solo right now. The Astral Spirit going to chase him down. And again, all 5 members of Rattlesnake going to rotate down here, and I think they are going to pressure this tier 1 tower and start racking up some team gold.
Yeah, I mean, it's their point in the game. I mean, they've got the basic items they need. They have the drum and the urn on Sing Sing, both for the aura and for that extra sustain for before and after the pushes. They have the mech done on Bone Sevens. They have the most important team fight items. Do they have a set of arcane boots? I would kind of hope so. Yeah, okay, yeah, Owie just picked those up, like you mentioned. So that's, yeah, they can sustain both their health and their mana. They have the mech if an engagement starts. They have the superior team engagement. So it's up to Empire to either get some sort of pick-off on an overextension or to just kind of split and try to farm.
Ooh, and here it is. Ice Path going to come out, vacuum into it. Macro Pyre going to come out again. Not really going to connect. A Shackle going to get thrown from the Rubik. Not going to connect onto the Bane. They're trying to take down this Bane. He's going to make it back to the tier 2 tower. Now the real Windrunner going to throw a Shackle again. Not going to connect. And we'll see what happens here. Gyrocopter now in big trouble. Going to get caught by the Fiend's Grip. He'll be the first to fall in this fight. Now Empire look like they might be able to do it. BKB going to be used by the DK. Just going to be able to walk right through that Ice Path. Now Sing Sing going to get cornered. He's going to fall. That's going to make it a 2-0 in favor of Empire. They very well may continue to press forward. Not going to find any additional kills. Also, that tier 1 tower did fall, so Rattlesnake did manage to get the tower kill before the fight started, but a little bit of an overcommitment there. Unfortunately, not able to finish off the Bane. The Chen doing some handiwork. He burned that Hand of God as well as the mech to keep Bane alive, and that was what set up Rattlesnake to really overcommit to try and pick off that squishy support.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Bane in the end, of course, was very important because he got his Fiend's Grip off on Gyrocopter and let Empire put enough damage into him to bring him down very easily. And that was just the biggest thing right there. They had all that combo. It looked so good, and the Earth Splitter was 10 seconds from being available when that started. If they had, I mean, I was just saying they need to punish these overcommittals. They need to punish over-aggression. That was a little bit over-aggressive. Your combo is really good, but don't underestimate how important that Earth Splitter can be. If you don't land some kind of stun, the Jakiro didn't land like a great Ice Path after that vacuum. If you don't have some sort of control to set up for that Gyrocopter call down, it's not that great to hit. The call down missed everybody. Yep. And then basically most of their AoE, most of their big AoE ults missed everybody, and they committed anyway.
Yep.
And they didn't have the Earth Splitter available either, and then he ended up in the middle of the fight using it and not really doing anything with it because no one was set up for it.
Exactly right. So Empire going to hang on to their lead here. We see the graph dipping back and forth a little bit, but still a nice 4,000 gold lead or so in favor of Team Empire. Now about a nice 3,000 gold lead or experience lead. set for themselves as well. That Lifestealer now getting a bit more scary. Does have the Aegis. So I don't think we mentioned actually that following that team fight, they did just move right into the Roche pit, and with 2 dead on Rattlesnake, of course, completely uncontested. So Empire did take out Roshan right about that 21-minute mark. We just now passed the 22-minute mark here. So Silent going to be able to grab the Aegis. Has Sanj and Yasha now to go with that Armlet, Hand-to-Midas, and Phase Boots. So he is definitely the carry to be reckoned with. Gyrocopter still yet to really make another big item pickup. He does have 2.3k gold in the bank, however, and he is going to take out a nice triple stack of Ancients here, so it is going to boost up that gold a little bit for Eternal Envy. But right now, again, only on a Ring of Aquila, Bracer, Magic Wand, Helm of the Dominator, and Phase Boots. So we'll see what item he goes for here. And Sing Sing looking like he's going to be gearing up for an Assault Cuirass. He does have that Hyperstone already to go with his drums, as well as the Urn of Shadows. And I don't know if we commented on his build. Of course, he leveled the Astral Spirit primarily, and has put a few points into the Echo Stomp, but he's leveled up that Natural Order pretty well. He is level 12, does have 4 points in it already, and that was one of the first abilities that he grabbed. So we can't forget about the amount of armor that reduces in these team fights, though. Notably for Rattlesnake, a lot of their damage coming out is going to be magical. In the mid lane here, we're going to see some initiation onto the Darkseer. The open wounds to start things off. He is going to be able to get the wall off. Is going to, well, I think he used his mech, but still fell anyway. Now Owie 2000 going to be in trouble. Rubik going to fall. Empire really off to the races here. Now Silent going to be engaged on. Macropyre going to come out again. Not going to connect with much. Silent just going to walk through it. They're going to engage onto the Gyrocopter. Silent going to hop inside the Dragon Knight there to buy himself a little bit of time. Is going to fall. Will burn the Aegis, but that's a-okay. That's going to be a 3 for Aegis exchange in favor of Team Empire. Gyrocopter, Rubik, and Darkseer all going to be in the grave for another 20 seconds or so as this Tier 1 tower in the mid lane falls. Empire furthering their lead here, now 13-7 at the 24-minute mark.
That was so disappointing to watch from Rattlesnake. You know, you have the initial pick-off onto the Darkseer. All his abilities are down with no real follow-up. Then you have, you know, the Jakiro. He's dropping his Macropyre with no real follow-up. The Call Down didn't really have any setup or any follow-up. It's basically one by one. Abilities not being used together with each other. Abilities not really being used synergistically. And when you have a team like Rattlesnake drafted, you can't just be throwing stuff out willy-nilly. I mean, I'm not saying... There are some people who get too concerned with, oh, I don't want to spend that cooldown. I really need it for this big combo. No, there's definitely times when you can do with just a couple sets of abilities what you only need a couple sets of abilities. But in cases like that, throwing them out one by one is just a waste of cooldowns. Some of them are short. Obviously, the Call Down and the Macropyre are back up, but the Wall of Replica now just coming up. There could have been more pressure put on by Empire after that. I'm shocked they didn't take that Tier 2 tower in the mid.
Mm-hmm. I think they definitely could have. And an interesting statistic to point out here, number 1 on the KDA chart, the only hero without a blemish on his record, going to be always want to fly on that Bane. He's been playing so well throughout this entire tournament, but 6-0-3 here at the 25-minute mark. He's been doing a great job, and as we've noted, that Fiend's Grip has been able to set up quite a few kills that they've grabbed and help turn these team fights. So you got to give a little shout out there to the Bane Elemental having one hell of a game for our one match today here at Starladder Season 7, Day 28. So now more big items are being picked up. We see Darkseer going to be able to grab a Mystic Staff with that nice Hand-to-Midas there. Most likely going to be working towards that early Sheepstick, as we've mentioned from time to time in the past. Darkseer with Midas first does open up that window of opportunity for him to grab a nice early Sheepstick to add to their crowd control. Other than that, not too much else, except for Gyrocopter. Eternal Envy now been able to grab that Ogre Club, now has the Mithril Hammer and a TP Scroll. I thought that was the recipe at first, but he is really just about 200 gold off the recipe, so that is...
I think that BKB is a mistake.
Good news here.
I really do.
Let's see. Well, what's the BKB going to get him out of? Not going to help with... Well, it'll help the Dragon Knight here. It will help the open wounds from Lifestealer, the Shackle Shot. Yeah, some of the stuff from Bane. It's okay. I don't know that that's really going to be a big turning point here. What would you have preferred?
I would have preferred him to go for something with a little more damage. Maybe go a Yasha into a Manta if he wanted a little more defensive build for the extra move speed, or if he just wanted to go into an MKB. But basically, his problem here is that Empire is ahead. We know that. They've got BKBs. They've got the BKB on Dragon Knight. They've got Lifestealer with his Armlet of Basher and Assange and Yasha. He's going to be hard to bring down. You have Bane, and Bane has 1,300 hit points. Windrunner has 1,300 hit points. The only vaguely squishy person, and we do see Gyrocopter getting just murdered in there by that Shadowblade Lifestealer combo you were talking about.
I didn't even see
it. I saw them walking around with it. I didn't see the Gyro walk in, but there's a very nice ward placed in the Radiant jungle. Yep. A little bit off the usual ward spot for Dire when they're trying to aggress in that Radiant jungle. Usually it's kind of in the center of that little clearing right below the Radiant hard camp, the middle of the jungle. This will give them a little more vision towards the towers. They can see when people are coming out into the jungle and maybe catch them a little earlier.
Right. So that is the wombo combo I mentioned, though. DK did go, he went BKB first, but now he has picked up a Shadow Blade, and he's going to use it right here. He's going to initiate straight on the Rubik. Rubik going to get dropped in a matter of seconds. Silent going to go forward. Now Bone 7 going to be in a little bit of trouble. We'll be able to surge backwards, going to make it back to the tier 3 and into the base, but now Empire going to be able to get a free tier 2 tower here in the mid lane. 15-7 at the 27-minute mark. 7,500 gold lead, 10,000 experience lead now for Empire. Oh, man, it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah, I just think that with all the hit points available on Empire and the magic immunity that they have on their cores and the fact that Bane is probably going to be going for a BKB of his own, I really, really think that Rattlesnake needed some non-magical damage, and Gyro isn't providing that right now.
Yeah, and also...
Flat Ken is doing almost nothing, and they don't have another physical damage dealer. It's all magic outside that Gyro.
Yep, exactly right. And also Darkseer now going to have a Shiva. It's not going to be going for the Sheep Stick. So that is going to add some more AoE damage. Shiva's never a bad item, but in this case, I think the Sheep Stick, just to have a little more crowd control.
Ward's going to scout out this backstab.
Yep, and try and set up those kills. They are going to come around smoked here, and we'll see what happens. There is going to be a sentry down, and I think that will scout it out. They are going to engage, however. That's going to be the vacuum in. Uh-oh, Empire in big trouble. Windrunner going to fall. This time the Macro Pyre is going to connect. That'll be the end of the Bane. The Lifestealer as well. Rattlesnake going to be able to finally land a good combo here. Not going to be able to finish off the Chen, and it looks like they won't be able to grab the Dragonite either, but whoa, an explosion of damage coming out. That's the difference between landing your Macro Pyre and missing it, as we've seen in the previous team fights. Pylai Die going to be able to land one there, and 3 easy kills going to go the way of Rattlesnake.
Yeah, and for all I was talking about, all they have is magical damage. If they land all that magical damage, it's pretty damn effective. I guess what basically happened there is Empire wasn't watching their backs. They have that sentry ward there along with the ward, meaning they can see the smoked heroes, but they still won't show up on the mini-map. So they have to be actually looking at that clearing, and I guess, you know, you had Always Want to Fly backing up on that Bane, and maybe he noticed them and was like, guys, but by that point, he was done. 3 heroes got caught in that vacuum. The Lifestealer got picked off without really being able to rage, which was very, very significant. He was almost dead by the time he got a rage off.
Yep. And also important to note, Empire did manage to clear that tier 2 tower before that fight started, so the tower count still vastly in favor of Empire. It is 5-3 in favor of our dire side. They are still leading by 5 kills, 15-10 here at the 29-minute mark, so they do still have a sizable lead for themselves, don't get me wrong. Still about 7,500 gold and 6,000 experience or so, but Rattlesnake showing that even though they're behind, they still have the combo to make it happen. And one of the things that might get a little bit scary here for Empire, although possibly not since they have that Lifestealer just free farming away in the jungle right now, is they're going to have trouble breaking into the base. Right now, Rattlesnake only have 1 tier 2 tower remaining. It is in the top lane, and with all of these AoE ults, it's going to be so hard for Empire to take that fight right outside of the base. They'll have the low ground disadvantage, obviously, but they're all going to have to be kind of grouped up within that small area, and that sets up for a lot of potential for Rattlesnake to use that vacuum and set up that scary combo that we've been seeing here. With that said, though, Empire know that they can just take map control right now. They've got such a sizable lead. They still have Lifestealer #1 on the net worth chart at about 15.7k, and #2 on the chart is at 12.8k, and that's the Dragonite as well as the Darkseer there, kind of neck and neck. So the Lifestealer is still a hop and a skip above everyone else, so in an all-else equal environment, he's still going to be able to overtake Eternal Envy here pretty easily, again, because he has that Hand of Midas, and Eternal Envy with the BKB, with the Helmet Dominator, Phase Boots, and Ring of Aquila. I mean, yeah, he's okay, but he's not particularly strong, and he's got those kind of 2 more defensive items, the Lifesteal from the Helmet of the Dominator and the BKB, going to give him a little tiny bit of damage, but all in all, he is just not hitting that hard, and we'll see what Lifestealer grabs next. He does have about 3.2k gold in the bank. I'm going to guess he's just going to pull up for that Abyssal Blade, and that's another one of the reasons the BKB not going to be a great choice here, because of course the Abyssal Blade just going to cut right through it and kind of counter that a little bit for Eternal Envy on that Gyrocopter. So we'll see how it ends up working out, but it looks like Rattlesnake could get a little aggressive here. They are going to smoke up, and only Eternal Envy going to reveal himself, so it looks like they may be trying to bait it out a bit with that Gyrocopter.
Yeah, I mean, they're working on it. I don't know if you mentioned it. I didn't hear it, but the AC picked up by Sing Sing.
So
yeah, it wants even more of that minus armor, and that's significant because obviously it'll help deal with the large amount of bonus armor that's starting to be stacked up over on Empire. Since the natural order only affects base armor, you still need some minus armor. It's not like everyone just goes to 0 when they're next to Elder Titan.
Right. So that is a great item pickup. Synergizes very nicely on him. But again, Roche did respawn here right around the 31-minute mark. We did see Rattlesnake poke their head in a little bit. They started chipping away at him. But Empire now going to move in. Scandal again going to have the surprise inside, and now Empire just going to move right into the pit. Both sides do have some wards down, so both sides know exactly what's happening. We see Rattlesnake has one on the high ground right outside the pit. They see the supports walking around. The Astral Spirit going to move in, going to use that Echo Stomp, is going to put Dragon Knight to sleep for a moment here, and that will be enough to scare Empire out of the field. Rubik going to be able to grab a spell. It is going to be the power shot, not too bad. Going to be able to harass the long range with it a little bit here across the pit. But Scandal, he is going to have a little bit of advantage with that Shadow Blade. Will go down to the bottom. Rune still has the bottle, going to be able to fill it up. It is an illusion. He did have a regeneration in there as well. So, of course, Dragon Knight going to be in good shape here. And we'll see both sides posturing about the pit. Neither side too eager to overcommit. Obviously, for obvious reasons, both Empire and Rattlesnake should be scared right here. Empire is scared of that team fight potential of getting caught in the pit, having everyone get taken out, but also Rattlesnake a little bit nervous here. They know that DK has that Shadow Blade. If he hops on somebody with that Life Stealer, they could easily pick off one of these supports right away, and if they could grab the Jakiro, the Darkseer, the Elder Titan, any one of those heroes, one of the big ultis, it'll make their team fight wombo combo that much more difficult. But look at this, Rattlesnake still just standing outside the pit waiting for something to happen. Empire have given up. They've backed up. They've moved into the jungle. They started farming a little bit, and here we go. Rattlesnake now going to move into the pit. Of course, it is still warded up on both sides. Empire know exactly what's going on. They're going to set the trap. They did back out, and now they may try to make this happen. Astral Spirit going to come out. It is going to scout it out a bit. Roche still with plenty of hit points to spare, down to about 30% or so. Empire looking for the opportunity to come in. They will be able to scare Rattlesnake out. There it is. The combo going to come out. The Ice Path, the Vacuum, going to be the end of Windrunner to start off this fight. Scandal going to be trying to do a lot of damage. Not going to be able to make it happen, though. Darkseer going to be able to finish him off. He'll buy back right away. Now Silent going to be in a little bit of trouble as well. He's headed for the hills. Does have a homing missile coming his way, as well as the entire team of Rattlesnake chasing him down. Looks like he may survive unless that homing missile does connect with him. I think it's going to get taken out by the tower. But we will see Rattlesnake actually come out ahead in that fight. They did pick off the Bane as well. 2 buybacks now been used by Empire. 1 on the Windrunner, 1 on the Dragon Knight. And already Rattlesnake back in the pit. Roche down to about 20% now. They're trying to tick him away. Empire, they're postured about the pit. Somebody wants to hop in, perhaps to try to snatch the Aegis. He's not falling quickly. Scandal going to move in. Is it going to get snatched? No. Roshan going to get killed by the Radiant. Gyrocopter going to be the one to grab the Aegis. Not going to be able to grab a follow-up kill, but uh-oh. I hold that thought because now Scandal going to get caught. Down he goes. Rubik going to be able to finish him off as we see Jakiro use that Force Staff to get up to the high ground. Nicely done by Rattlesnake, and now they're in good shape. They're starting to turn this game a little bit. The experience advantage is gone. Gold advantage starting to close for Empire, and we're going to move into a pause. 14-15 here at the 34-minute mark. Oh man, this game just keeps getting better, Hippie.
I really can't believe that that Scandal was foolish enough to go in there. I gotta be honest, like that's, you know, I don't like to say like, man, that was like just stupid. That was dumb, man. You already got picked off once with Sentry Wards right there. You know that this is a professional team. You can see Sentry Wards like coming out of their inventory all the time. You know you've had this Shadow Blade for a while. They've been looking for you. So why are you expecting, with all the counter warding that always goes on around the Roche pit, even when there's no invisible heroes to boot, why are you expecting you're going to be able to go in with a Shadow Blade and just take an Aegis out from under 5? That was just dumb and gave Rattlesnake a big advantage that they really didn't earn.
It's true. It's true. It's set up for that bad engage. And I don't know, Empire, I thought they had what was going to be good right there. They kind of set the trap, they moved into the pit, and then they backed off, got a little bit of farm, and as soon as Rattlesnake went in, they had it warded up, and they went back, and they had the ability to try to initiate that a little bit better, but they just got caught in that really small area in that high ground right outside the Roche pit between the river and the pit itself. And the easy Vacuum Ice Path right there. I think Vacuum is probably just about as wide as this area, so it's not that hard to land a good Vacuum and pull him into the Ice Path. So nicely done by Rattlesnake nonetheless. I think Empire, 2 things they need right here. They need more BKBs, which they're working on. We see Bane pretty close to his. Dragon Knight has had his. Windrunner not going to be getting a BKB. Does have an ultimate orb now, probably going to be a sheep stick. But they really need a pipe. We brought that up earlier on. It looks like Chen is going to be working towards it. He does have a cloak in the inventory, another 1,500 gold. So probably, I think he has enough to finish off the Hooded Defiance now. So could be getting a pipe in these for these upcoming team fights, but that will make a big difference in the way of Empire, given how much magic damage Rattlesnake have, and again, the lack of physical damage they have as well. Though, Eternal Envy does have 4.6k in the bank on that Gyrocopter, still just the BKB, Helm of the Dominator, Ring of Aquila, and Phase Boots now to go with that Aegis and the Magic Wand. So we'll see what item he wants to grab here. Hopefully it's some raw core piece of DPS. Again, an MKB could work very nicely here, and it looks like that's what it's going to be. He's going to pick up 2 Javelins in the bank, and when I put him on the courier. So going to be close to that Demon Edge. He's now down to about 1.7k. So that's going to be an MKB coming out pretty soon here for Rattlesnake. That's definitely going to help.
Yeah, it was just, a couple of big team fights. I've said it, when teams draft these heavy team fight lineups, you always have to be careful, no matter what the big advantage you have is, because of just how incredibly effective they can be in just win one fight, regain, huge advantage that they'd previously lost, and just come right back into the game. And especially with an Elder Titan, he is built for these wombo combo lineups. All he does is he sets up for these combos, and he lowers everyone's armor and magic reduction so that they take more damage from all the combos. That's the entire point of the hero. And ooh, Ag Scepter finished on Bone 7 as well.
Yep, 3 big items picked up right now. The MKB just going to get finished by Gyrocopter, who's also hit level 16. Elder Titan now going to be level 16 as well. We talked about that Assault Kuras, but yeah, it's absolutely right. The Ognim Scepter on Darkseer going to be great to try and deal with this Lifestealer. And Lifestealer going a very squishy build. He actually has an MKB of his own, so he's not going to go for the Abyssal Blade. Going to go Armlet into S and Y, into the Basher, and now into the Monkey King Bar. And that's great, but I worry now with the Ogs on the Darkseer, those illusions going to be doing a lot of damage, and that might give Silent a dose of his own medicine, and I think he might realize that antibiotics don't taste so good.
Yes. It's going to be brutal. I mean, we're going to have to see exactly what happens right here. Silent needs to start... God, I really wish he had gotten that, either something like maybe a heart or something, just for a little extra hit points so we can live through all of this combo. Maybe this might even be one of those rare games where you almost want a BKB on Lifestealer just because they're so reliant on those teamfight combos.
That's true, and that's true. Not something we see too often, but Owie 2000, he's going to walk into a combo indeed. Scandal again with that Shadow Blade, the surprise inside. That's going to be the end of Rubik. Just a couple of quick left clicks there, and... yeah, down he goes. So that's going to be a free kill for Empire. Now going to be 16-14 here at the 37-minute mark. That will repel the forces of Rattlesnake for now as he gets taken out. So I guess that is good news. I see some folks talking in chat. No one mentioning the lack of boots on the Darkseer. He's got Surge, man. Boots are so overrated. He's just cruising around the map. He is bootless, though. He still has that Soul Ring, the Handamitis, now the Ogs, as well as the Shivas and the Mech, and of course the TP Scroll in that last inventory slot. So interesting, but not something too crazy. We've definitely seen Darkseers get away without boots in many another game.
I just find it really funny that the last thing Owie did with his dying breath, right as he was about to get stunned, was throw down a sentry ward. So it wasn't even like, oh man, they came out of invisibility. It's like he dropped a sentry ward, saw them right next to him, and said, shit. And he was just gone.
Oh, one of those just ironic timings. The BKB has been completed on Bane, but also, whoa, Windrunner now going to be able to grab a nice big item, pick up the Scythe of Ice, aka the Sheep Stick, Hex Stick, whatever you want to call it, now in the inventory of Windrunner, so that is great news for Empire. I still think an Abyssal Blade on that Lifestealer would have been a good choice, just to try and lock someone down, secure a free kill. I'm a little skeptical about this MKB choice here. I don't think damage is his problem. I think surviving is going to be...
expecting a butterfly.
Yep, I guess that's true. And Windrunner going to get caught in the mid lane here. We did see it on camera, though. I was talking about the MKB on Lifestealer. And just going to be a pretty easy kill. Windrunner, unfortunately, going to bump into all 5 of Rattlesnake, and she is going to fall. But you're right, probably anticipating the butterfly on Gyrocopter, although he did go the MKB route. So one of those situations where perhaps he was maybe a little bit too early with that MKB, and Gyro said, you know what, forget it. I'm not even going to go that route. I'm just going to go raw damage as well. So now he has MKB to go with his BKB and Helm of the Dominator. Probably, I'm going to guess he just want to go with Satanic next for a little bit of sustain, but we'll see exactly what Gyro wants to do.
Look at how low Scandal has dropped on that net worth chart, and this is a big deal because he's now been working on an AC for the past like 9 or 10 minutes. He had that Hyperstone before that Roshan went down. That was 6 minutes ago, and all he's gotten is the armor. He still hasn't managed to finish off the AC itself. And when before that Roche fight, he had like 2,700 of the gold he needed for it. So really, I mean, between the deaths in the Roche pit, coming back in, trying to steal the Aegis, getting picked off again, yeah, the buyback there. He's basically thrown away the really good positioning he had and kind of neutered himself in terms of his damage output. It's really, really unfortunate because Lifestealer alone isn't really going to compete with his Gyro at this point because the Gyro is not just killing one target, he's killing all the supports as well.
Yeah,
And all the sports are already messed up by that combo.
That's a good thing to point out. When they're all locked in place, we can't forget about how much damage Gyrocopter can do with Flat Cannon in that AoE fashion. Speaking of Flat Cannon, going to head down to this bottom lane here and clear up this huge creep wave. So that's what Gyrocopter does best. One of the abilities that just lets him be the hard carry that he truly is, and why he's a carry that synergizes so well with these huge AoE teams. So I know there's one thing that I saw some people talking about in chat is the Assault Cuirass against the Darkseer. Now, of course, if you have an Assault Cuirass and you're up against the Darkseer, you walk through that wall of replica, your illusion that's fighting against you will have the Assault Cuirass buff and will give it to your enemies. But it's nullified here because Elder Titan has an AC anyway. So really, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. So I guess that means Scandal is free to get an AC here and doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, and he's going to finish it up right now, as well as Silent is going to pick up that Abyssal Blade that you were mentioning. He really needs to pick up something with some hit points. Not necessarily to sustain him through a fight. I think he can actually manage to sustain just fine if he doesn't get picked off in the initial volley of spells that come off. I think what he really needs is the ability to not go down to like a third of his hit points just from that big combo, where, well, the rest of his team dies too.
Yep. No, you're exactly right, and we'll go ahead and see Empire here smoke up. They are going to venture through the Radiant jungle. No, I don't think any wards saw him, so this is a secret mission right now, and we'll see how they fare against Scandal with a surprise inside, as he does have that Shadow Blade now to go with the AC as well as the BKB. But, oh, there it is, Gyrocopter going to be able to finish up his Satanic right now, so that's going to be a Satanic to go with the MKB and the BKB. So he's definitely that force to be reckoned with. As you were mentioning, he is now officially scary indeed. Number 2 on the net worth chart at about 18k, and right now the Lifestealer is at about 22k on that number 1 spot. So Gyrocopter slowly but surely catching up and nipping at the heel of that Lifestealer. So we're going to see Empire now posture around the Roche pit. Roche not going to be coming up for another minute and a half or so, but they are going to be in that mid lane trying to set the trap. They're going to put Windrunner right here. She is level 16. She looks fresh. She looks juicy. One of those cute gingers here, but unfortunately for Empire, that is, Rattlesnake not going to fall for the bait. They are just going to clear out the Dire jungle and stick together as a team. It looks like they're going to do a little bit of bait of their own, as they do have Eternal Envy in the lane here up top, and the remaining of members of their team all on the other side of the trees, just ready and waiting to hop on enemies that may be foolish enough to cross their path. So it looks like we could see a team fight erupt here in the Dire jungle if these teams do bump into each other.
I want to just, before this fight starts, I just have to point out, Pylai Dai has a Veil of Discord on that Jakiro.
Ooh, we talked about that item yesterday.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday with a similar sort of lineup that got drafted. I talked about how amazing it would be when most of your team is relying on magical damage. You have these big AoE setups where you can pull everyone in so they all get veiled. And oh, they're on E.
Yep, here we go. He's going to get sheep. They're going to go in. Eternal Envy going to be able to survive. Now Bone 7 going to be the target. He's going to be the first to fall. He does get the replica off. Down goes the Macro Pyre. Now Dragon Knight going to go down. That's going to be a 1-for-1. Darkseer for Dragon Knight. Sing Sing's trying to stand his ground, going toe-to-toe with the Lifestealer. They've got the lockdown. Lifestealer in big trouble. Down he goes. Sing Sing still alive for now. Windrunner trying to finish him off. He's going to fall, but oh no, this fight not going Empire's way. Always Want to Fly going to be in trouble as well. That's going to be a 2-for-4. Chen going to be the only one surviving on the side of Empire in exchange for just the little Darkseer as well as the mighty Elder Titan. Rattlesnake, despite getting engaged on with their Gyrocopter turning into a pig, they were able to make it happen. They dropped the hammer and they took that team fight. They're now going to press forward. They are going to start pressuring this tier 3 tower in the top lane. Glyph is available for Empire. What's the buyback status? Let's take a look. It ain't good. Does anyone have it? Chen, the only one with buyback, and he's also the only one alive. Empire going to be forced to watch this tier 3 tower in the top lane fall, and probably their racks as well. They're all going to be down for another 20 seconds. The Glyph now going to be used. The tower 1 hit from death. Of course, it is going to fall here to the Wrath of the Creeps, as well as the 3 heroes still remaining. The Rubik, the Jakiro, as well as the Gyrocopter. The melee racks now taking heavy damage. Bane going to be coming up in just a second. Not going to be able to save the melee racks, nor the range racks for that matter. Now DK going to be popping up. Maybe they will be able to save these range racks after all. Get about 300 hit points to spare, but bad news bears for Empire. They had such a big lead earlier in this game. Now the gold difference completely even. Experience difference starting to go in favor of Rattlesnake. They've climbed their way back from a 10,000 experience deficit just 20 minutes ago in this match. 45-minute mark, 19-18, still anyone's game for the taking.
Part of the problem is I feel like when I'm really looking about it and looking at late game potential and all that stuff between these two drafts, I think part of Empire's problem is that they expected to take a bigger lead than they actually did in the early game. Because Chen, I mean, First of all, you know Rattlesnake has better teamfight engagement, so you know that any 5v5 is going to favor them unless you can get a pick off. You also know that in the late game, there's going to be plenty of sentries, there's going to be a gem. You see Owie now has the gem picked up, which is going to be very, very important for both counter-warding, ferreting out smoke attacks, and dealing with that Dragon Knight, of course. So that's going to be a big deal. So you can't really be relying completely on getting pickoffs in the late game, but you don't have anyone who's a really great split pusher. The Dragon Knight can kind of make it happen, but at the same time, he's someone he has to kind of burn his ult to be a really, really effective pusher and burn a lot of mana on the Breathe Fire to push as quickly as someone like, a Nature's Prophet could. And even then, you're not going to be pushing quite that quickly.
Poor Bane. Always want to fly, just going to walk into 5 smoked up members of Empire, of Rattlesnake, and yeah, that's going to be a free kill, needless to say right there. So that smoke going to be worthwhile. Roshan is now respawned. Is this the second Rosh kill of the match, correct? Or is this third? I've lost track.
This should be third.
This is third. I think this is third. All right. Wow, this time is flying, but it doesn't feel like 45 minutes. This has really been an action-packed game.
He's got the cheese in his inventory.
Yep. Oh, yeah, that's how you can check that. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I should have looked. Oh, man. So Roche going to fall pretty quickly here. Not much Empire can do about it. They don't have ward coverage at the moment, but I think they probably know. And with one dead, they're not going to be able to engage it into that wombo combo anyhow. So Roche going to fall to the Radiant. She's going to go down. The Aegis going to go in the inventory of Eternal Envy on that Gyrocopter. And Sing Sing going to be able to grab the cheese. And Elder Titan now, he's also got a sheep stick to go with that Assault Cuirass. So that is definitely good news for them. But whoa, Rubik going to get caught up near that tier 3 base. What is he doing up there? That close to the tier 3. The gem is going to go down. Did he get force-staffed up there or something? That was weird.
I was going to say, man, you know what he's doing up there? He's feeding away a gem. That's what he's doing up there.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
That could be a big deal, because obviously, look, you see there's a lot fewer sentries on the map just because they got that gem picked up. They haven't been buying sentries. They haven't been dropping them. They've been relying on having Owie around with his gem. So now you've got maybe a minute or two window for Scandal to get a lot of work done with that Shadow Blade, try and get another pick-off before they start bathing the map in sentries again.
Yeah, well, that's definitely true. And now, losing that gem is definitely going to be a little bit rough. Very unfortunate for them. And now we'll see Rattlesnake just kind of head for the hills. Empire actually in hot pursuit here. There are all 5 grouped up about the Radiant secret shop right now. Rattlesnake are grouped up about where their tier 2 tower would be here in the top lane. Right now, the tower count is 7-6 in favor of Empire. All of the outer, or pardon me, in favor of Rattlesnake. All of the outer towers are down, but Empire have also lost their tier 3 tower in the top lane. So that's that 1 tower difference. But all 6 of the outer towers are down for both sides. So gold advantage in terms of towers is pretty negligible at this point. Rattlesnake still leading by a very small gold lead. Their lead is not significant as much as just comparing it to how far they were behind. They were down by about 10,000, now leading by 2,000. That's a huge swing. And now up by about 5,000 experience as well. So those item choices definitely working for him there. That Veil of Discord, as we mentioned, and now Gyrocopter going to be working towards that butterfly. He does have the Talisman of Evasion as well as the Quarterstaff in the bank, and of course going to be pulling up that gold for the Eagle Song. Has about 3,000 gold in the inventory, or in the bank. God, man, I'm all tongue-tied here. In the bank as well, so he's going to have that last piece he needs before too long here. Darkseer, he's got a Perseverance. Could that possibly be a refresher coming out for Darkseer here?
Wall.
Wall? What do you mean wall?
Double wall.
Oh, double wall. Yeah. I was like, wait, what?
Because you get 2 sets of illusions.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's, I thought you just meant an item wall. I was like, I don't know that item. I don't know what you're talking about, man. But, no, you're exactly right. Double walls.
Old school Dota item. Everyone
Old school Dota, yeah, that wall.
How do you not know about the wall? Come on, it's the wall, man.
I didn't know Pink Floyd had a Dota hero. Whoa, zinger. So, and we'll see Windrunner here get close to her Orchid as well. She does have that Sheep Stick and the Force Staff, does have the 2 Oblivion Staffs, of course, going to be working her way to an Orchid Malevolence. What is Lifestealer working on? He's got another 3.4k gold in the bank, the Abyssal Blade, MKB, Sanj and Yasha, and the Armlet. What was that? He's just saving for buyback?
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Yep.
He doesn't want to go below that buyback thing. And most of the next sets of items he would be thinking about, because that AC is already grabbed by the Dragon Knight. I mean, you maybe could get a Deso, but really at this point in the game, it's not that worth it. He's going to be looking for something that takes a Reaver, which means he doesn't want to spend a bunch of money all at once right now because he needs that buyback gold.
Yep.
Oh, Scandal, this is so dangerous. There's a sentry right there. They can see him if he tries to stab in.
He's going to do it. He's going to poke forward, but Windrunner going to be there as well. We'll see the Infest hop out. They are going to try to engage on Sing Sing. The Ice Wall to follow up here. Now Scandal, they're going to be right in the middle of the Macro Pyre. Rage going to be used. Sing Sing going to stand his ground. All the while, Gyrocopter going to be able to finish off the Bane. The Lifestealer going to fall. He's going to buy back right away. Dragon Knight going to fall shortly after. That's going to be a 3-for-1 here in favor of Rattlesnake. It is a 4v3 on the field right now. now as Lifestealer did buy back. Mag on the Windrunner going to be in some trouble as well. The tier 3 tower in the mid does fall. Glyph going to be used as the rats are taking heavy pressure. I think Rattlesnake might be able to do this. They're going to try to engage on Eternal Envy. We'll see Lifestealer go in. He's going to hop inside a creep. I think he is still alive. Oh no, he's going to make it back to the base. I think Chen sent him back. But Eternal Envy, he's going to use that homing missile. He's going to be able to finish off Van Score on the Chen. Chen going to buy back. A Sheep going to be used on Eternal Envy. He'll get 4 staff backwards. He's going to survive. Now we see the Dragon Knight Illusions doing a ton of damage to that tower down in the bottom lane. Silent going to be in some trouble here. He's going to try to go toe-to-toe with the Darkseer. Going to use, or no, he's just going to get a bash proc, pardon me. Now going toe-to-toe with the Gyrocopter. The Satanic going to keep him alive. In comes the Ice Path. That'll be the end of Silent. No buyback left. Empire going to be in big trouble right here. What's the buyback status? No, 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 and no. They've got nothing left. They've got Chen, Bane, and Windrunner on the field, but that's going to be it. They're going to tap out. Rattlesnake going to be able to do it with the Wombo combo team. The first time we've seen a Veil of Discord here in Starladder Season 7, and it's going to prove to be successful. Well played by Rattlesnake, 26-20 after 50 minutes of gameplay.
That's just, if you saw just that, those two walls, basically, they never picked, they kind of needed to pick off Bone 7 at the end right there. Because as soon as the two walls went down and there were 2 Dragon Knight Illusions splashing you all, slowing through BKB for 140% of Dragon Knight's damage, game was good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it came down to. I mean, you saw, like, the combo wasn't perfect. The Gyro was kind of taking a lot of damage. And you just saw the Lifestealer and the Dragon Knight just melt to the damage coming from those illusions. That double wall is so, so good. There's a reason we call it, like, the GG wall or the OP wall. It's still one of the best spells in the game, no matter what situation you're in. And having 2 full sets of carry illusions, ridiculous.
Yep, it truly was indeed. So only one match today, folks, but an action-packed one at that.